Hey guys, so if you are someone who's been listening to the show from the start and are wondering where all the episodes went, well, I have deleted them. I took them all down because I had a realization that these episodes aren't really what they're supposed to be. So, to explain it, from the start, when I press record for the very first time, and I still have like the very first episode up, I couldn't bring myself to delete that one, but the show was meant to be me meeting people for the podcast. And keep in mind, I did this back when I was, think maybe a sophomore in high school. And I started it because I was willing to let because how the whole podcast thing came into the picture in my life was I met my good friend Blaine, who you guys may know from the episodes if you have been here from the start. And he was doing a podcast called hashtag Stay Motivated. And I was a big fan of that. I was a big fan of, you know, listening and like just hearing people talk and stuff like that while I do other things. And what Blaine's podcast was all about was talking about how to stay motivated, like how to live, how to power through life with a smile on your face. Um, And that's pretty much the whole purpose of his podcast. I appeared on there a couple of times. And yeah, it was just, I was amazed by it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to start my own show. At the start, it was called the Evan 11 Show. Because at the time, I thought I was a big rapper and I could be like, oh, let's just make it my rapper name. And then it evolved into the Evan 11 podcast. And then, Isaac Williams podcast to where it is now, Thoughts with Isaac Williams. And I had so many episodes that I recorded that didn't get saved. And the reason why I didn't like the episodes that were up anymore is because the episode I did have was about my friends who, like, keep in mind this is supposed to be a podcast about me meeting people, not like just interviewing my friends. And there was one portion of that podcast episodes where it was just my friend at the time, Charles, was just arguing with his girlfriend at the time, Leanne. And they would argue, and Charles would overshare about his life to the point of where, like, unaliving was in the conversation. And not, I mean, unaliving himself was in the conversation, not him wanting to unalive anyone else. And yeah, it would just go into dark topics. And then even at one point, Blaine ended up, calling into the show crying over something that Charles said. Keep in mind, we was like, when I did the Charles episodes, we did it live. And Blaine would call into the show crying about something that Charles said. And these episodes, like, I just wasn't a big fan of them anymore because it was the opposite of what I wanted the show to be. The show was supposed to be me meeting people, and at that point, it was just people arguing about, how much they hate this person, how much they dislike that person. And then talking about, like, really personal things that shouldn't be said out loud. And yeah, so I took those episodes down. And how it came to be where I was decided I was going to take the episodes down is that I was going to interview a pastor at a church that I semi go to, and I was supposed to interview him, and he never got back to me. Uh, Pastor Daniel, if you're listening to this episode, don't worry about it. I'm not upset. I'm not. It's not like that. Punch him. Knock it off. Hey. I'm recording this in the living room. A cat was scratching the sofas. Pastor Daniel, I'm not upset with you. I'm not mad about anything. I get it. You're a busy man. It's just the way it is. But if you do ever want to come on the show, let me know, and I'll gladly have you on because you do so much for my family. I would just love to hear your story. And so, what that episode was, it was supposed to be me meeting Pastor Daniel. That's what the episode was, and he never got back to me. So I said, okay. And at the time when I was like, all right, well, I'm going to tell him the name of the podcast. And I remember that I said some foul things in those episodes. And I didn't want to embarrass my sister and stuff. And so I went in, took those episodes out. Sure, there's probably a couple of slip ups in the original episode that's up right now. But that's pretty much how it is. And and also I've been neglecting making new episodes for the podcast for a long time because I just life, man, just been busy. I, if you're a long time listener, I guess the last thing you might remember was that I mentioned that I had dropped out of high school. Uh, as a whole can of worms, and yeah, that happened, and then I've just been living life since that episode came out, uh, and then eventually, I think, God, about a year ago, my mom had passed away. And at the time, I was working on their opinions with David, and I just never got back to recording anything for this podcast because I've just been working on their opinions. Then when mom passed away, that was put on hold, but never picked back up until recently when me and David did a new episode. Uh, yeah, that was put on hold, and then back in December, my dad had passed away, and yeah, and it's currently March now, so it's been about 3 months since he passed. So I want to say I'm still in the grieving process, but part of me is just kind of just accepted it and so, like with my mom. I don't want to go too deep into it. With my mom, we kind of knew that her time was coming, the way that her health habits were and stuff. She was constantly having breathing problems, and we knew that hers was coming. With my dad, it was kind of just happen. With my mom, it took nearly about a year before it finally happened. With my dad, it took about 3 months before he passed. If I might go deeper into it. No, I think I did go deeper into it over at the Nerd Opinions channel. I'll put a link to it if you want to know more about their passing and stuff like that, which is kind of grim if you want to know more. But yeah, I'll leave a link over there if you want to learn more about it. But honestly, that's where I'm at now. I'm living with my brother and sister. Uh, yeah, I'm living with them right now. Uh, that's just how life is right at the moment, and I kind of want to get back into the podcasting. Hopefully, my first episode with someone will be with Pastor Daniel, but I highly doubt that's going to happen anytime soon because he's pretty busy. But uh, I would be happy to do another episode with my buddies because they have matured quite a bit since high school. I'm no longer in contact with Charles anymore. He moved up to Tennessee, I think. He moved out of state, I think. I don't know. I'm still in touch with Blaine. Uh, we, me and him hang out sometimes. So I wouldn't mind doing another episode. And I also had another podcast that was very short lived. Was Generation Z podcast, and it was a political podcast where me and my buddies talk about politics and stuff like that. keep in mind we're a bunch of people in Alabama, so imagine how that politics talk go. But yeah, uh, so that's pretty much where I am in life right now. And I want to get back to making episodes for this podcast. All the previous episodes are gone. I don't have them saved anywhere unless I have them in some kind of cloud that I don't know of. And I'll try to keep my best to keep up with the show. So I guess it would be a great time to reintroduce myself. Hi, my name is Isaac Williams. In this podcast, I talk to people to get to know them from all kinds, like, if you're a doctor, banker, and stuff like that. I want to sit down and chat with you. I want to know about your life, of what led up to where you are today. Get to know who you are. I want to know everything about you and if you come on the show. Uh, my sorry, my mind's going blank. So yeah, that's what it is. This is Thoughts with Isaac Williams. And this is what this show is going to be now. It's not going to be any more friendship drama. It's not going to be any more of that. I just want to get to know a person. That's all this is. So if you stuck around this long, I want to thank you guys for listening to the episode. And yeah, I guess I will see you next time. Bye bye.